أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال له موسى هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا وكيف تصبر على ما لم تحط به خبرا قال ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا قال فإن اتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرا فانطلقا حتى إذا ركبا في السفينة خرقها قال أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا قال ألم أقل إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال لا تؤاخذني بما نسيت ولا ترهقني من أمري عسرا فانطلقا حتى إذا لقيا غلاما فقتله قال أقتلت نفسا زكية بغير نفس لقد جئت شيئا نكرا قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا قال إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحبني قد بلغت من لدني عذرا فانطلقا حتى إذا أتيا أهل قرية استطعما أهلها فأبوا أن يضيفوهما فوجدا فيها جدارا يريد أن ينقض فأقامه قال لو شئت لاتخذت عليه أجرا قال هذا فراق بيني وبينك سأنبئك بتأويل ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا صدق الله العظيم. Just for the people following online, yesterday we had no Darse, so if you're looking for yesterday's date, which was the 20th, right? Yesterday was the 20th. There'll be no Darse there. We've read quite a lot, but majority of this is quite clear by just the translation. So inshallah, we'll try to get through it all. If not, we'll stop somewhere in between. So we reached the point in the story of Khadir alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam, where Musa alayhi salam finally met Khadir alayhi salam. Okay, Musa alayhi salam had his khadim or his young companion Yusha' bin Nun with him. So it's like Musa alayhi salam is the ustad. He has his talibin with him, who is Yusha' bin Nun, and he is traveling to meet another ustad, who is now Khadir alayhi salam. So they have finally met from the last time we had tafsir. فَوَجَدَا عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. That they found a servant from amongst our servants who we have given a special mercy to. Most Mufassirin mentioned this special mercy was a long life. Khadir alayhi salam was blessed with a very long life, and he was quite old. So now, قَالَ لَهُ مُوسَى, Musa alayhi salam says to him, هَلْ أَتَّبِعُكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُعَلِّمَنِ مِمَّا عُلِّمْتَ رُشْدًا. Hal attabi'uka. May I have permission to follow you, or may I have permission to accompany you, provided that you an tu'allimani mimma ullimta rushda, provided that you teach me from that right guidance, rushda, from that right guidance, mimma ullimta, which you have been taught. So here's Musa alayhi salam making his request, sending in his application form basically to join the madrasa of Khadir alayhi salam. That I would like to accompany you on this journey so that I can learn from you, or so that you can teach me. Not that that you can teach me. This is Musa alayhi salam's, we can say, humility. Although being the Nabi of the time and being the most knowledgeable person of the time, he is putting in his request in a very humble manner, that I would like you to teach me of that knowledge, of that guidance which you have been taught. And also, he has his talibin with him still, but there's no shame in this, in seeking knowledge. So these are adab of ilm we are learning here as well. Okay, so Musa alayhi salam asks permission from Khadir alayhi salam to accompany him. قَالَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Khadir alayhi salam says to him that indeed you will not be able to be patient with me. Right? He told him that you can join, but you won't be able to last. He gave him, notice from the beginning that you'll get kicked out of this madrasa, right? You won't be able to last in this madrasa for too long. So he says, وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. And he tells him the reason why too. Right? وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ. How will you be able to be patient عَلَى مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ خُبْرًا, upon that مَا لَمْ تُحِطْ, which you cannot encompass with your knowledge or by your knowledge, right? If you can't get your mind wrapped around what I'm doing, you won't be able to make sabr with me, because I have the ilm of the unseen, or what happens behind the scenes, and you have the ilm of the zahir. So you will see certain things which you may not like, and you being a nabi, you won't be able to hold back yourself, because it's the duty of the nabi, when they see something wrong, they must point it out. They can't be quiet. That's their duty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Khadir alayhi salam already knew that I will do things and he will not be able to hold himself back. He will definitely have to stop me or try to tell me what I'm doing is wrong, because that's the whole duty of a Nabi. That's why the Nabi came to the world, to show people the right path, and if people are doing wrong, to let them know they're doing wrong. So Khadir alayhi salam told him from the beginning, right, that you won't be able to last. So قال ستجدني إن شاء الله صابرا ولا أعصي لك أمرا. Mufassirin mentioned a very beautiful point in this ayat. So Musa alayhi salam says that satajiduni, soon you will see that inshallah I will be patient. Sabiran, you will find me patient. Wala a'si laka amra, and I will not go against your orders. So Mufassirin says here, he said inshallah when he said I'll be a sabir. But he didn't say inshallah when he said I will not go against what you tell me to do. Right? So inshallah he will be sabir. He will be able to be patient to a point. But he didn't say inshallah wala a'si laka amra. He didn't say inshallah after that. That I will not, go against your orders. So Musa alayhi salam accepted. So that he'll try to be most patient. قال فإن اعتبعتني فلا تسألني عن شيء حتى أحدث لك منه ذكرا. Now he's signing terms and conditions here, right? He's making Musa alayhi salam sign the rules. When you go to a madrasa, you have the rules, and then you sign at the bottom that I will obey all these rules. So Khadir alayhi salam is putting forward his rules to Musa alayhi salam. So Khadir alayhi salam says, فإن اعتبعتني, if you follow me or if you accompany me, فلا تسألني عن شيء, then don't ask me about anything. Right? Just be quiet. This is one madrasa where questions are not, you can't make sawal in this madrasa. You be quiet and you just watch. You won't be able to answer me about anything. حَتَّى أُحْدِثَ لَكَ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا, until I myself present to you a mentioning with regards to it. Meaning, until I don't explain to you, you don't ask me anything. You just be quiet. Okay? فَانْطَلَقَا. So they set off. So Khadir alayhi salam gave him his rules and they started their journey. حَتَّى رَكِبَا فِي السَّفِينَةِ خَرَقَهَا, until they boarded a ship, and Khadir alayhi salam خَرَقَهَا, he made a hole in it. Okay, there are many different opinions on how this hole was made, where it was made, when it was made, if it was made on the shore, if it was made in the middle of the sea, if it was made in the sight of everyone, if it was made just in the sight of Musa alayhi salam, how it happened, where it happened. Loads of narrations. You can read 2-3 pages just full of all those narrations. What the Quran says is that they boarded a ship and Khadir alayhi salam put a hole in the ship. Okay? Some say he put it with his foot, some said he He put a hole and then he patched it. There's so many narrations, but the gist of the story, we don't need to know all of that. All we need to know, right? We're on a need to know basis, basically. This whole surah is teaching us that we are on a need to know basis. What Allah teaches us, we know that much, and we don't continue asking too many questions. So they board the ship, and Khadir alayhi salam puts a hole in it. Okay? He pulls out a few boards from the bottom of the ship. So Musa alayhi salam, on this journey too, Mufassirin mentioned one incident. It's in Sahih Riwayat. That whilst they were on the ship and they were sailing, a bird came and sat. And whilst the bird sat there, it took a dive in the ocean and took up some water in its mouth. And it flew away. So Khadir alayhi salam told Musa alayhi salam that the amount of water that this bird has lessened from the ocean in its beak is the comparison of your knowledge and my knowledge put together to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So basically, Musa alayhi salam has all the knowledge of the Zahir Ahkam. Khadir alayhi salam has the knowledge of the unseen Ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of the behind the scenes happenings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Still, both of our knowledges put together can only decrease that much which that bird decreased from the ocean. And the Mufassirin says that here that naqasa mean decrease doesn't mean actually decrease. It's like how insignificant that one beak of water is compared to the ocean. It means that's how insignificant my knowledge and your knowledge put together is to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it shows how vast the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and how little the insan knows. And that's the same reason I mentioned last time why insan cannot put forward legislation and rules to run a whole country or any, you know what I mean? They have to depend on the rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have set. Because the knowledge of insan is very, very limited compared to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he puts a hole in the boat. قال Musa alayhi salam says, أخرقتها لتغرق أهلها لقد جئت شيئا إمرا. It's also mentioned here that before they boarded the boat, the people who the boat belongs to, by seeing basically Khadir alayhi salam, recognized him. And they knew he's a wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so they boarded him for free. They say it was a passage, there was a small passage where they were trying to get from one side to the next side of the river or the sea, whatever it was in between, and they boarded them for free. They allowed them to board for free. So Musa alayhi salam then tells Khadir alayhi salam, did you put a hole in this boat to drown its people? لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا. You have brought forward a very terrible thing, right? These people let us on for free, and this is how you repay them, by putting a hole in their boat. So he complains. Okay? So here's the first warning. Khadir alayhi salam says, قَالَ أَلَمْ أَقُلْ لَكَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Did I not say to you that you would not be able to be patient with me? قَالَ لَا تُؤَاخِذْنِي بِمَا نَسِيتُ وَلَا تُرْهِقْنِي مِنْ أَمْرِي عُسْرًا. Musa alayhi salam replies right away, لَا تُؤَاخِذْنِي. Do not reprimand me, do not hold me, do not catch me on this. بِمَا نَسِيتُ. For what I have forgotten. Right? And made a promise to you that I would not say nothing, but I forgot. Okay? This was Nisyan. I you know what I mean? I didn't do it purposely. It just slipped out. وَلَا تُرْهِقْنِي مِنْ أَمْرِ أُسْرًا. And do not be hard on me by creating difficulty in my affairs. I mean, don't be too tough on me right now. I made a mistake. I couldn't hold back. Right? That's Musa alayhi salam. He's a Nabi after all. He saw the Khadir alayhi salam do something which apparently looks wrong. Someone lets you board their boat for free. You know, what you should at least do is give them a dua when you're getting off. Not put a hole in the boat and then walk off. Right? So Musa alayhi salam could not see this and could not tolerate this behavior. So immediately he told him, you know, you've done a very terrible wrong here. What are you doing? Right? So Khadir alayhi salam told him right away, I told you that you won't be able to be patient. Musa alayhi salam says, sorry, I forgot. I won't do it again. Okay. فَانْطَلَقَا. So they carry on. The journey continues. حتى إذا لقيا غلاما فقتله, until they both met a boy, and فقتله, and Khadir alayhi salam kills the boy, murders the boy. Okay, there's much tafsil in this, the Mufassirin have mentioned. So after they got off the boat, they continued their journey, and whilst walking, they passed some kids playing. So Khadir alayhi salam sees one boy. He's very handsome, he's very good looking, everything, he looks very well. And he pulls him aside, and the amount of, there's like 3 riwayat mentioned. According to one narration, he hits him with a rock in his head and splits his head open. In another riwayat, he puts him to lie down on the floor and he slits his throat. And in a third riwayat, he holds him by the head and he disconnects his head from his body. Right? اِقْتَلَعَ رَأْسَهُ, those are the words. So the Mufassirin mentioned there's no tazad, there's no contradiction between these narrations. It is possible that this murder was carried out in this very gruesome way. At first he cracked his head with a stone, put him on the floor to lie down, slit his throat, and then disconnected his neck. Imagine watching this as a Nabi, right? But it is said that Musa alayhi salam didn't see when he did all of this. Because if he was to see, Musa alayhi salam would have definitely intervened and stopped him. And Musa alayhi salam wasn't a small, weak man, right? فَوَقَزَ فَقَضَى عَلَيْهِ. He punched one guy and the guy was done with, right? So Musa alayhi salam had the ability. We say when all of this happened, Musa alayhi salam probably wasn't paying attention at the time, so he didn't stop him, he didn't say. But when he saw the result of this boy being murdered, he's like, قَالَ قَتَلْتَ نَفْسًا زَكِيَّةً بِغَيْرِ نَفْسٍ. He told him, have you just killed an innocent soul without it murdering someone? بِغَيْرِ نَفْسٍ, meaning the boy didn't commit a crime. He did not kill anyone, so how could you kill him? Right? لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُقْرًا. You have brought forward a very horrible action. Right? So there's one here, he says above, لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا إِمْرًا, and here he says لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُقْرًا. The Arabs like to discuss this, right? The word imra, the word nukra, what's the difference between the two? In English we just say terrible, horrible action. Imra is say like you brought forward a bad action. And nukra is like saying you brought forward the worst action. It's a degree, okay, of how bad the action was. And then they explain that in imra, basically, putting a hole in the boat was not considered as bad as actually killing a person. Although, due to the boat having a hole, if it sinks, more people would have died, right? But the reason is that by putting a hole in the boat, more people could have died. They didn't die. One is that. And number 2 is the whole intention of damaging the boat. Sorry, the whole intention behind putting a hole in the boat was only to damage the boat. It wasn't to kill anyone. Okay? The intention wasn't to kill anyone, as we will find out later on. I don't want to say out now. We'll leave something for tomorrow. So that there was not as bad as actually murdering someone. So here he murders the boy. So Musa, sometimes you've done an extremely terrible action. Because this murder is worse than the damaging the boat that you just did a while back. قَالَ لَمَا قُلْ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا. Khadir alayhi salam repeats again, did I not tell you that you would not be able to be patient with me? Musa alayhi salam again, قَالَ إِن سَأَلْتُكَ عَنْ شَيْءٍ بَعْدَهَا فَلَا تُصَاحِبْنِي قَدْ بَلَغْتَ مِن لَدُنِّي عُذْرًا. Musa alayhi salam says to him that if I ask you of anything after this, فَلَا تُصَاحِبْنِي, then do not allow me to accompany you. قَدْ بَلَغْتَ مِن لَدُنِّي عُذْرًا, you have sufficient excuse from me, right? You have balagta, qad balagta, has reached to you udran, enough excuse from my side, meaning I have given you enough excuse to now tell me get lost, you can't stay with me anymore. So فَانْطَلَقَا, so they carry on for the third time now. حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَيَا أَهْلَ قَرْيَةٍ اسْتَطْعَمَا أَهْلَهَا فَأَبَوْا أَنْ يُضَيِّفُوهُمَا, until they came upon a people of a town. They didn't even reach the town yet, they just met the people of the town. right? Istat'ama. They both asked them for some food, meaning the ants from the people of the town. Istat'ama ahlaha. They asked for some food from the people of the town. فَأَبَوْا أَن يُضَيِّفُوهُمَا. But the people of the town, what did they do? They rejected, or they said no to being hospitable to both of them, right? فَوَجَدَا. So they were told, no, we have no food here for you, right? There's no food here for you people. Now in the olden days and still today, it is the right of a traveler when they come into your community that you feed them and you take care of them. Hospitality is the right of the traveler. So if the traveler comes into your community and they can't find food, it's you have to provide their food. That's their right upon you, right? So they were told that there's no food here, not even water for you guys, right? You keep walking. So they kept walking for what? So they were now going through the town, passing through the streets, idling because no one's here is willing to feed or give you anything. So they're just walking. فَوَجَدَا فِيهَا جِدَارًا يُرِيدُ أَن يَنْقَضَّ. So they found in the town a wall which was about to collapse. يُرِيدُ أَن يَنْقَضَّ فَأَقَامَهُ. So Khidr alayhi salam made it right. Right? From the same word that came right at the beginning. Qiyaman, we made this book upright. Aqamahu. So Khidr alayhi salam made it upright. How he did it, some said just by a sign of a hand, just by putting his hand on it. However, he was the wali of Allah, so karamat would happen. Strange, where you can say actions and strange results would happen from his actions. So the wall was straightened by him. Now, Musa alayhi salam is smart. He was told twice not to ask questions. So he says, قَالَ لَوْ شِئْتَ لَاتَّخَذْتَ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. He didn't answer question, Talib ilm is very smart. They know how to, catch the ustad. Right? But the ustad sees through them too. So he tells him, لَوْ شِئْتَ. Only if you wished, لَاتَّخَذْتَ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. You could have took a compensation for it. You could have took an ajr, an exchange for it. I mean, they didn't feed us. They didn't give us any food here. Now you come and you straighten this wall. At least you could have told them, $5 for the job. Because it's a whole job you did there. So you didn't ask him. He told him, if you, لو شئت, if you wished, you could have asked for a little exchange, a little money or a little something in exchange for the job. No question was asked. But Khidr alayhi salam seen through what he's trying to say, right? So he got ikhraj now, right? He got expelled. قَالَ هَذَا فِرَاقُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنِكَ. So Khidr alayhi salam says, this is the separation between me and you. In English we'll say you and I, right? I'm just translating it according to his. Because it's like Khidr alayhi salam is saying, فِرَاقُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكَ. This is a separation between me and you, meaning I'm done with you. You can stay here, you could do what you gotta do, but I'm finished. I'm moving on. سَأُنَبِّئُكَ بِتَأْوِيلِ مَا لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ عَلَيْهِ صَبْرًا. And I will soon inform you of the explanation of what you could not be patient upon. Okay? And I will soon explain to you the explanation of what Musa alayhi salam could not be patient upon, inshallah, tomorrow. Subhanallah bihamdi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka.